Hello my wolf pack and welcome to probably the penultimate video or the penultimate team builder of the Phantom Little Cup League, also known as the PLCL. So before I kind of get into the team build, I'm just going to say we have gone into the semi-finals now. There was some issues with the season, so we have decided just rather than around the 10 weeks, we have gone into the semi-finals. And I'm Masting Fancy for the second week in a row. Not sure how I really feel about it. If you check out the previous video, you will see we did win. Spoilers there, but we did win. And also, sorry, I've got hiccups. I've got a cold or something coming. But yeah, we did win against Fancy. Go and check out that battle if you haven't already, because it is quite the doozy. Now, what we've basically decided is that all the teams that have not successfully got through, we can now choose from their team. So I've chosen two pickups. I've chosen Salandit and I've chosen Ferroseed. Now, Salandit, purely because it was one of the good fire types that was dropped off. Essentially, all the really good ones are essentially in team still. So Charmander was already picked up. We have Score Bunny, which has already been sorted, and there's a couple of other fire types, but I weren't really interested in those. So I'm interested in Salandit because it's fast, and then I picked up Ferroseed as well. Ferroseed I picked up like before we even moved into the finals, but it was decided at that point. And Ferroseed actually just works quite well for me. The only issue with it is the Charmander, but we have got some stuff to deal with that as well. Yeah, so Fancy decided to drop Cottony, I think it was, for Charmander, and also drop, I think it was Minccino or Cincino, whichever one is the pre-evolution, I can never remember, for Sneasel. Now, Sneasel is a scary Pokemon for my team. It's almost as bad as Magnemite. Magnemite was a very scary Pokemon. Sneasel, basically those were the two that I was really, really scared of. But yeah, I think I've managed to build a team with this because we've got Salandit on our team now, and that will be able to destroy a Sneasel, especially considering I've Choice Scarfed it. There is, I would say, 0% chance, 0% chance of Fancy scarfing the Sneasel. It just does not make sense. I think the maximum speed it can have is like 22, which is like 4 above what any of my other Pokemon could have. So it's really, really high, and honestly, scarfing that would just be, actually it would be a huge play. It'd be a huge play, but I don't think he's going to go that way. I could definitely see Cutiefly potentially being scarfed. I could see Drifloon probably not being scarfed. I could even see Drifloon coming without an item at all, to allow for it to be able to have that unburden bonus immediately. We've got Charmander, which could also, it could hold a scarf, but I think it is more likely to be a Dragon Dance variant than anything else. Yeah, so let's start talking through this team. So my first choice I've gone for is a Salandit with Choice Scarf, 1.5 times our speed. That will allow us to outspeed a Sneasel that is obviously not scarfed. But max speed Sneasel, we can actually outspeed. We've got the Choice Scarf there, and it will lock us into a move. And basically, I've decided that Flamethrower and Sludge Wave are the only moves I actually have to use. So Diglett doesn't respond really well to a Flamethrower. Cutiefly is dead to a Flamethrower. Drifloon, I think, almost dies to a Flamethrower. Bunnelby almost dies. Sneasel dies. Timber, I think, it does like 70% or something. Gothita, I think, dies. Bronzor dies. And Charmander takes a Sludge Wave as well. So most of these I will use Flamethrower on. If the Charmander doesn't come, if for some reason I really think it will, but if it doesn't come, then I just freely click Flamethrower, and I think I can just potentially get a late game sweep with that. I'm predicting that one Pokemon is going to be scarfed on his team. I think it's likely to be Cutiefly because he does not want to risk what happened last time. If you haven't checked out the previous video, I probably will end up spoiling it when I get to Scraggy. So please do pause the video, go and check that out if you haven't done so already, or if you don't want spoilers. But yeah, that is kind of what's happening. If my eye, I think it's this eye that's actually squinted a little bit, my eyes are really sore. So just don't worry if things look a bit weird because they're just sore. They're just sore. I'm not going to explain kind of the reasonings behind it, but they're sore. So Flamethrower and Sludge Wave are my attacking moves there. I've gone for Toxic here. Now Toxic, I think I could potentially go on Drifloon just because having it with its Berry Juice, for example, it could be quite scary. If I don't take it out, its Unburden will allow for it to outspeed my Salandit and and Acrobatics will probably destroy me, if I'm completely honest. It will probably completely destroy me. Sludge Wave, Endeavour is the last move. Endeavour will take a Pokemon down to very low HP. I can potentially use this on a variety of different Pokemon. In fact, I think all of his Pokemon. I don't think it's a Ghost type. No, it's Drifloon, but I can use it on everything except Drifloon, which that's not the strat of Drifloon anyways. I've got the hiccups. Why do I get the hiccups when I record? But yeah, so that is the idea on there. I'm going for a fast sweeper here. I have gone for a modest nature as opposed to the timid nature. I thought that with the choice scarf, I'm going to outspeed it anyway, so there wasn't much point in having that plus speed nature there. But honestly, Salandit is going to potentially be a win con here. I think. Okay, I think if I get some chip damage on some different things, then Salandit can just come in. For example, if I get Stealth Rock set up, I think I just automatically win. The only issue would be there with the Charmander. I'm not sure how much I do with my Flamethrower on Charmander. It'd probably be about 40–50%, but at the same time, I'm not sure what Charmander can do to me. I don't think Charmander learns something like Earthquake, which would obviously be very broken for a baby Pokemon, essentially. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process for Salandit. I need to get some chip damage, but I could definitely bring this in late game and start to sweep. Depending on what comes, I could potentially bring it in early game and just really chip down a lot of things. Not necessarily for switches, but Salandit doesn't have the highest defenses, so it's not necessarily going to live too many hits. But because it's level 5, it should be relatively okay. Moving on to Rufflet. Now, Rufflet has been in every single match. I think Rufflet and Staryu have been in, and Trapinch, possibly Scraggy as well, have been in every single match that I've gone for, which is actually kind of crazy. I normally go for a little bit more versatility, but I have gone for Rufflet here. Rufflet, I couldn't really decide Rufflet. Initially, I wanted to choice Scarf it, but honestly, I thought at that point, Salandit works better as a choice Scarf Pokemon. And I can just make sure this isn't in against Sneasel, or I let it go down against Sneasel. But my thoughts were ultimately that I've got Ruffler, I've got Focus Sash, and I've got Tailwind. So Tailwind will allow me to double the speed of my team for 4 turns, I think it is. That will definitely be helpful for me in a variety of instances, especially when it comes to things like Trapinch, because Trapinch is very slow, but I should be able to get a lot of damage off on different things. And even if it's a case of I Tailwind, I get knocked down to my Sash, I should then realistically outspeed almost anything on that team. And with my Brave Bird, Close Combat, Shadow Claw, I think I almost OHKO everything. So again, kind of mid-late game, this could definitely come in and this could destroy a few different Pokemon. Move-wise, I've got Brave Bird. Now, Brave Bird, obviously, once I'm down on my Sash, it's going to be a dangerous move to use, but normally I will only use that in a scenario where I'm definitely going, like, I have to use it or I go down. Like, that is what I would use Brave Bird for. Close Combat is a powerful fighting type attack. Obviously, it will hit things like the Sneasel for really good damage, and then Shadow Claw is good for coverage. So typically, I think for the Diglett, I'll use Brave Bird. Cutiefly Brave Bird. Drifloon, I will probably go Shadow Claw. Meowth will be Close Combat, same with Bumblebee, same with Sneasel. Timber would be Brave Bird. Gothita would be Shadow Claw. Bronzor, Shadow Claw. And Charmander will either be Brave Bird or Close Combat, depending on the situation that I am in. But hopefully, we should be able to get some damage off on here. I've gone for the max speed and the max attack on here. I just thought that works quite nicely. I did consider going for less speed in there, but then I thought if I don't get the Tailwind off, I would quite like to outspeed the majority of his team, because he does have a few really fast Pokemon, but if I can outspeed the majority of them, then Rufflet can work very nice. I did consider going for Hustle here, but then I thought Kenai, I know my luck, so I'm not going to risk that. But yeah, that is Rufflet. Rufflet can hopefully put in some work this week. I don't think it's my win con. I think that that could potentially be something late game, maybe, in certain scenarios, but I don't think Rufflet is necessarily my win con. I think if I can get a Tailwind set up in a scenario, then that would be very helpful. Third Pokemon we have is our Staryu. Staryu is actually looking pretty good against this team again. Honestly, Staryu can put in a lot of work. It's really fast, 19 on its speed. It's got max special attack as well, so a Dazzling Gleam I think mostly takes out Sneasel, if not completely takes out Sneasel, which is awesome. Analytic is the ability, so if we see a switch on this, I get 1.3 times damage. Surf, which hits the Diglett, it will probably hit the Cutiefly. Drifloon's hit by Ice Beam, Meowth's hit by Surf, Bunnelby is hit by Surf, Sneasel is hit by the Dazzling Gleam, same with the Timber, Gothita with Surf, Bronzor with Surf, and Charmander also with Surf. So a lot of these Pokemon, clicking Surf does do a lot of damage to them. It isn't necessarily going to knock them out, but Staryu is actually a lot more powerful than I thought, and I've also got Pain Split here as well. So let's say that I have just come in, the Drifloon uses Acrobatics, I get down to like 2 HP, I Pain Split, I go back up to more, well, about half health, and he dwindles down, so I can then get a next Pokemon in to potentially do some more damage. So that's kind of my thought process there. Particularly with the Drifloon is very scary, but also with like things like the Sneasel, that could be quite scary. I think it's going to go for like a Focus Sash Pain Split set, but I honestly think the Life Orb works slightly better. Max speed, max special attack, not much more to say. Moving on to Trapinch. Now Trapinch is actually really cool. I have made it so I think it 100% of the time, unless it's like a really defensive Sneasel, which I think is very unlikely. He could potentially run Eviolite on Sneasel, but again, I'm not sure I see that happening. It would be a really strong play to actually play Eviolite Sneasel, 100%. I think that would be a really power play. But we've got First Impression on there, which takes out the Sneasel. It can also do a lot of damage. I think it takes out the Gothita as well. But that's obviously the first turn it comes in, so I kind of have to be cautious with that. Earthquake, which will hit a variety of mons. Diglett. Excuse me. Meowth. Bunnelby's hit by Superpower. Sneasel hit by the First Impression or the Superpower. It depends on the situation, but realistically, Trapinch is going to deliver a hit from Sneasel. Timber's hit by Earthquake pretty strong. Gothita with the First Impression or a Crunch. Bronzor with the Crunch, Charmander with the Earthquake. So we've got a lot of coverage on this. It does mean the Trapinch will probably end up taking some damage, but realistically, Trapinch is only going to be there to take out one Pokemon. And I'll only bring it in when it's going to essentially bring out a Pokemon. I think most likely it's going to be in case of the Sneasel, and I can get the First Impression off. So that is kind of my thought process there. Moving on, and the fifth set, as I said, this is a bit of a spoiler, but fifth set we have is actually Scraggy. We have the exact same Scraggy as last time. Completely the same Scraggy. We have got Berry Juice on here, so if we get like down to low HP, we can heal ourselves up. We've got Moxie as our ability to increase up our attack stat. We've got Dragon Dance. If I can get Dragon Dance up again, I don't think I'm going to sweep this time, because I honestly think that Cutiefly is probably going to be scarfed to deal with that, because that was what happened last time. I got a 4-mon sweep, or maybe 5. It was 4 or 5 mons that I managed to knock out with Scraggy, without Scraggy taking any damage. It was just Dragon Darts and just hitting. And honestly, that did so much damage, it completely destroyed his team. We've got Drain Punch, powerful fighting type attack that hits the Diglett, I think, +1, that takes it out. Lola Meowth, it takes it out normally, I think. Same with Bunnelby. Sneasel, completely destroyed by a Drain Punch. Timber, I think at +1, Drain Punch is going to take it out. Gothita, we have Crunch on there, which will take it out. And same with Bronzor. And so with Cutiefly, we have Iron Head to be able to take that one out, hopefully if we're faster. And then we have Charmander, which will probably be taken out by a Drain Punch. I don't think I actually did the calc there, but I'm pretty sure that Drain Punch will take out the Charmander at +1. If not, we'll still have quite a lot of opportunity for damage. So Scraggy, if I can get Dragon Dance up, I have considered potentially leading with Scraggy to get that Dragon Dance up initially, but the Cutiefly lead could completely destroy me in that sense, and same with the Timber lead, so that could be a problem for me. But that's just something that I'm considering doing in the match. I haven't done the match yet. For once, I'm recording this prior to the match. So finally, we have got another new Pokemon. We have Ferroseed. Ferroseed is actually potentially going to put in some work. I'm considering leading with Ferroseed. I'm not sure if there's really anything other than Charmander that really scares my Ferroseed. Oh, Timber scares Ferroseed as well. So Timber scares it as well. But the likelihood of seeing a Timber lead is pretty low, but I'll explain that in just a second. So moves on here, I've got the Eviolite to allow for me to have higher defenses, meaning that I should be able to live more hits. We've got Iron Barb, so anything that's physical, which we've got Diglett's physical, Drifloon will probably be physical, Meowth's physical, Bunnelby is physical, Sneasel's physical, Timber's physical, and Charmander's likely going to be physical as well. So most of his team is physical, so they will take damage from those iron barbs. So that is going to be something that's potentially going to do a lot of damage across the board. We've got Stealth Rocks. Now hopefully I'm going to be able to get Stealth Rocks up early in the match. I don't know if he'd run a Defog. I don't think any of his Pokemon have Rapid Spin. Bronzor actually probably has Rapid Spin. That would be quite a play if he ran like a Rapid Spin Bronzor and potentially like with Calm Mind or something. That would be absolutely destructive. That would be disgusting actually, and that would actually get him the win. He would deserve the win at that point. But Stealth Rocks is there to just get some chip damage on the different Pokemon. Particularly Cutiefly. Cutiefly could do a little bit of damage on. Sneasel I could definitely do a little bit of damage on. Same with Charmander. If I can get that damage on there, then Salandit looks a lot better to come in kind of later game and really start destroying different things. So that's something that I think could definitely work. I've gone with Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball is there because it takes out the Sneasel. 100% takes out the Sneasel. Sneasel can hit me with Triple Axle, which even if it's Choice Band, that still will not take me out completely. So I can use Gyro Ball and completely take that out. And it also takes out the variety of different Pokemon. I think even Cutiefly is taken out by Gyro Ball. I've got Knockoff to get rid of any items, because let's face it, items can be a pain in the butt. But that also hits Gothita, it hits Bronzor for a lot of damage as well, and it can knock off a variety of items. I need to actually calc with Drifloon and Ferroseed how much damage the knockoff would do after a Stealth Rocks or after a Iron Barbs, because it's going to be faster than me. And then Seed Bomb just for the Diglett, because Diglett could potentially be a problem, because it can get Earthquake, or it does get Earthquake, and it will help hold Earthquake if it's coming. I've gone for like a max defense, well not max defense, max HP, max defense. I've got some HP investment, and I've got a lot of attack investment that allows me to be able to hit the Pokemon for a lot of damage. Obviously on a special defensive front, that does become a bit concerning, but the special Pokemon he has, which are Gothita, Bronzor, and Cutiefly, do not want to come in against Ferroseed, honestly. They don't really like Ferroseed too much. The only thing is Charmander. If it's a special Charmander, it could be like a Specs Charmander or a Scarf Charmander. Then that could well rip through my team pretty well. But then I've got Staryu, which can do a lot of damage. I don't know if it can learn Thunder Punch or anything like that at a level 5, but maybe it can. It could potentially learn Thunder Punch, which makes me think it's more likely to be physical. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. The idea here, potentially have Ferroseed as the lead. He could lead Timber, but I think that's very unlikely. He probably has watched some of my videos and has realised that 9 times out of 10 I've actually led with Rufflet. Now, leading with Rufflet is obviously going to be a potential option that he's going to consider. And if I lead with Rufflet and he leads with Timber, then he basically loses Timber or he has to switch out. So honestly, like, I don't think it's likely that he's going to lead with his Timber, and that means that Charmander has to lead. And if Charmander leads, looking at my team, I've actually got 3 Pokemon that completely go hard against it. So I think it's very unlikely that Charmander would lead with that higher risk. I know he's going to be sure that I am not going to leave with Trapinch. Trapinch is going to be an arena trapper. He knows that's going to be the case. Like he can't not know that's going to be the case. But yeah, I'm going to consider in the match. Current leads are potentially. I've considered Scraggy. I consider Scraggy just to immediately get up a Dragon Dance, but honestly, Cutiefly is probably scarfed, so that would just be pointless. He would, if he doesn't lead with Cutiefly, he would switch into Cutiefly. And have that Scarf on there, or if he had Scarf Timber, although Scarf Timber wouldn't outspeed me, so I'm 99% sure if he has Scarf or Cutiefly, just in case of that scenario. Salandit, I've considered as a lead. It could potentially do a lot of damage. I considered Rufflet as well, but Rufflet I don't think is actually going to be able to, well no, Rufflet could do a lot of damage, but at the same time I think that Ferroseed is probably going to be my lead. I will consider it in the match, but I think Ferroseed is likely to be my lead. Anyways, that is all for today. It's been a really long one, potentially longer than the actual match itself, but it's been a really long one. If you enjoyed this, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm going to win this one? Do you think I'm going to lose this one? So you can decide on that one. Let me know in the comments. I won't be offended if you think I'm going to lose. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if I lose either. But that is all for today. So thank you for watching. I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you soon.